it's not enjoyable to watch, lads. It's been a year. The football is shit. The football is utter shit. And as United fans, we want entertaining football. And we can't kid ourselves. It is not entertaining. Do you believe he should get sacked?
For me, I'm going to go back to that point. If I have a good alternative, we've got World Cup coming up and big names available. I think realistically, if you haven't made that target, surely you've got to think there's better options. You're not talking Marco Silva anymore. You're talking the
you need to get over that. It's like
I can't get over Marco Silva.
One of many options that I gave. Like
he
you
was
go
your
over
man.
last year.
He was the man you said.
Let's kick it off. I'm Steve, and I'm joined by Ash and Uz, and it's officially the 1 year birthday of Let's Kick It Off. Our first podcast came out a year ago today, so somehow we've kept this going. We're on 48 episodes now, closing on 50. We're going to catch the overlap up soon, and unfortunately United are still losing, although we did have a little bit of a pick-up in form over the last few weeks. But yesterday we lost 1-0 to Everton at Old Trafford, despite Everton being down to 10 men from the early stages. So Ash, obviously we've lost. Have to come to you first. What did you make of the performance against Everton?
Where do you start? I thought the worst performance of the season was Brentford, especially being there live. But yeah, that was pretty high up there in terms of lack of imagination, lack of performance, not just from the players, but from the manager. And it's rinse and repeat. I'm stealing a line from one of our friends, Scott, on the pod. We talked about it, right, on the last United pod in terms of everything's a bit marginal with this 5-game unbeaten run. But yeah, to be fair, there wasn't anything marginal really about yesterday. Everton deserved their victory. They played well, especially when they went down to 10 men. Got to say, what an advantage to have having Everton players like kick up and have their own fights. But yeah, we still managed to, I think, lose for the first time in the Premier League with 10 men at Old Trafford. I think it's like a 46-game unbeaten run. So yeah, another record broken by Ruben, and back to the drawing board.
Yeah, so I think the last time you were on the pod was when Kieran was on, and we'd just beaten his team Brighton, so we'd won 3 on the bounce, so the mood was a bit higher. I think you've obviously been away in Bali while we had the 2 draws against Spurs and Forest. So yeah, what did you make of the performance yesterday? Did you watch it? How's the jet lag?
Just recovering from the jet lag. Yeah, I watched the game. Yeah, was not good, was it? It was a bit of a. It's really disappointing as well when you're on such a good run and you come back to your home ground and you think, okay, you've had some difficult away fixtures where you've battled well, got a point against Spurs and Forest, which I think are, in the context of our season, good results, right? You're happy with those, but then you need the 3 points at home against Everton to kind of make those good results. Otherwise, they're not good results. And it just felt like, one of those post-international break lackluster. They weren't really up for it. It was really disappointing, to be honest. The thing that, I will continuously say it about this team that worries me is the lack of attacking creativity. I think it was obviously missing Cunha and Sesko's an issue, and having to play Xerxes up front, and then Ahmad, I'll say a million times, has to play at wing back. You can't have Mazraoui and Dorgu as your wing backs. But I thought, okay, fine, we'll work it out. We we'll probably be 0-0 at half time, and then Ruben will make the changes. Then we get a man up, and okay, they've handed this one to us. Thank God for that.
Handed, is that a deliberate pun there?
No pun intended, to be honest. You're well spotted, Steve.
Let's touch on that then. So, Ash, have you ever been on a football pitch and slapped by? I'm sure you've been pushed by your own player, but slapped.
Well, have you slapped anyone?
Or yeah, vice versa.
Oh no, I definitely haven't. I haven't whacked anyone. Has anyone whacked me? I don't think so. But yeah, definitely had a few Roy Keane moments. with teammates for sure. Yeah, no, funny one. Took us back. I looked at the record earlier, like the first ever red card in the Premier League between two teammates. It was in 2005 between Bowyer and Dyer.
Was that the first one?
That was the first one. So there's only been 3, and obviously that was the third one. So yeah, a bit of a crazy moment. I don't really know why it happened. Looks like Gay got just really peed off with Michael Keane. Yeah, it wasn't really much of a slap from either one, right? Like he's been done there basically.
I just found it funny how Gary Neville was analysing the venom in the slap on commentary.
I know. That's the bit I don't understand. It's like they were almost criticising the rules for being subjective, and it's like most football rules are subjective. This is not like Formula One where it's like the pit lane speed limit. You've gone up by 0.1 miles an hour and you can measure it. I can't remember the exact wording of the rules, right? But it says, like, unless it was not excessive or something like this. And Neville was like,
yeah,
how do you interpret that? It's like, yeah, but that's just everything.
I actually disagree with him anyway. I don't think it was like just like a tap. It was more than a tap, but
yeah, he gave him a proper hit in the face. I'm like, you saw that that angle where he just whacked him in the face. You're like, okay, if that happened to one of our players, right? It's a red card. And there's nothing in the rules that says, oh, unless it's your own player, then the force can be a bit more. Like Neville was like, yeah, but it's his own player, so it's like it makes no difference.
I was going to say, like, next time I do play and I'm pissed off with someone, I'll slap him good.
It's like, to be fair, the rules weren't written, for players slapping their own teammates, right? It's to slap surely the opponent. So just bizarre, really.
You know what's really interesting though? Was there sentiment around? I felt that there's sentiment around that this was somehow a positive thing, right? That there's passion.
That's what Moyes said. I saw a quote from Moyes. Obviously, they won, so it's easy. It's easy to say that.
I was just chatting to Shy about she's like, "Oh, tell me about this slap," and I'm like, "What do you want to know?" And I explained what happened. She's like, oh, "You know what? Their manager must be in a lot of trouble then." I'm like, what do you mean? If your employees are slapping each other, you clearly don't have a good, culture. And I'm like, well, actually, it's really weird because the sentiment's been positive that actually that shows there's passion in the dressing room. She's like, what is wrong with you lot? It's like, this is the highest level.
You can't compare the office to the sports field.
No, but this is the thing. Why. She's like, this is just toxic masculinity gone to a new level. Why is slapping your colleague in the face considered a good thing? I'm like, I don't know. It's just football. It's just the way it is.
You heard what Ruben said afterwards, yeah?
I think he was positive around it as well, wasn't he?
Ruben was like, I want my players to fight. But it's a classic Ruben comment after losing. I don't think he deliberately comes up with these lines because he's lost, but this is the issue. He's a charismatic guy, but if you keep bloody losing, especially in the manner, then it just looks like you're a bluffer.
It's like we've always said it on this pod. In fact, I think the line was even used in episode 1 because you were listening back to it, Ash, today. Proof is in the pudding, right? So if Everton lose that game 4-0, David Moyes is not saying in the post-match press conference, "Oh, I'm happy my teammates, slapped each other and got sent off." The narrative obviously changes based on the result, right? So, yeah, I mean, for me, it was a clear red. Because he slaps him, whether it was a hard slap or not. Like, again, if he'd done that on the opponent, it's a clear red, and the rules are there to be interpreted in the same way. So
I don't think the referee done anything wrong. He called it spot on, got the red card out. Like, good job by the referee.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I think it's more worrying afterwards.
The thing I was surprised at was that none of the Everton players complained at all.
Yeah.
They all were just like, get off the field, mate. So even they were.
Well, he'd lost it, right?
Yeah.
Pickford was like holding him back and dragging him off, away. So he's like, he just lost it.
Yeah. So, but I almost felt like then that I thought that was positive for us, but I think then that they had to, it's backs against the wall when you lose a player, right? They put in an extra effort and they were the better team. They deserved to win, I thought, even though we created a few chances to put a bit of pressure on. I thought, and Everton had one shot on goal in the whole game. But really,
Should
we
be
didn't.
said, they dominated even the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, we didn't deserve anything.
They were the better team. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And again, like I know, like Ruben didn't have many options, but never like it when when you play the two fullbacks in the wing back position. I thought, and then when it goes down to 10 men, I think he was a bit slow to do anything. I think Neville was getting frustrated, right, as well. Like, why isn't he doing anything?
Lost it. Yeah.
I felt the same as well. That it was just
He didn't have super sub Harry Maguire. That's why he couldn't lump him on.
Interestingly, I think Maguire was a loss in this game because Everton are quite a physical team, and that first goal. This is the issue with Lenny Yoro. He's off not aggressive enough as a defender. And if Maguire was playing and De Ligt was there, De Ligt would have been right on. Was it Dewsbury Hall was the Everton player? Yeah. He just gave him too much space, allowed him to turn, then didn't go in hard on the challenge. I thought Lamans could have done a little bit better as well. So, the goal was a bit soft as well. So it's a really disappointing goal to concede. And I think if Harry was there and Harry and De Ligt with their physicality, we probably don't concede that goal as well. So it's a bit of a soft one, really disappointing.
We'd be doing a disservice as well if we don't talk about Bruno in that situation, because the community, particularly the United group, is split on Bruno's position. So yeah, this is the problem. You play him deeper, he's got to do things that he's not really good at, and he'll get criticised, for not putting a better tackle in. But yeah, I think there's just wider problems.
It's fair. It's like it's a trade-off though with Bruno. But then what you need is you've got three centre backs, so they have to deal with it. You got one guy. It's like, come on. If Lenny Yoro is just more aggressive and he's got De Ligt behind him, don't allow the guy to turn. And you're the defender. You're the guy who should be winning your tackle, not Bruno. But win your tackle, and then that goal doesn't happen. And Lamans as well. He seemed to jump or shift at the wrong moment, so he doesn't, plant properly and then get across. I think he probably should have saved that one.
Steve, you know my thoughts, right? I'm going to keep blaming the system, so I'm not going to repeat all the same points. But yeah, look, the players weren't good enough on the night, for sure. But this system just really doesn't help them.
Yeah, I think you touched on it there. Gary Neville's frustration was definitely coming through on commentary. And I think a couple of the points he mentioned, one was let's be honest, Everton scored on the 29th minute, so we had over an hour of football to try and get a goal back. And yes, we had some half chances, a lot of crosses in the box, but there was nothing really created of any note. And I think Neville was getting frustrated at the fact that Yoro was getting on the ball a lot on that right-hand channel, and he wanted a creative player, to be on the ball. And I think he was getting frustrated with the system and the lack of flexibility, right, from Ruben.
Yeah, this is the issue. It's very apparent, especially even this season, with the back three. A lot of them defenders are going to have possession of the football for us. So if that's the case, then Az is not going to get his creativity. It's bad enough that we've only got two in the middle of the park in midfield. But then if the emphasis is on Matthias de Ligt to have the ball more than potentially even a Casemiro,
Maguire's probably the best from a distribution perspective, right, out of our centre-backs. So you could even argue we missed him slightly from that angle.
We do miss Maguire in certain circumstances, but we just got to face facts. He will get injured. We will miss him at parts of the season. And I'm not going to have Ruben being able to say, I'm missing Harry Maguire, therefore my team performs like that. It's just not good enough. You got to think on your feet. The fact that he just doesn't want to change the numbers, between the back three, get one into midfield or further up the field. For Everton, it was easy to defend. Xerxes actually did well, particularly with, I think, the second header, where he made Pickford go across to make the save. But as you said, Steve, this is all in front of the Everton defence. We didn't get in behind them. It was so slow. I messaged the group because there was so many people complaining. 25 minutes in, the amount of passing at the back, it's 20 passes and you haven't progressed the ball. It's they're being coached to do this. So this is what I mean. It's normally I'm really easy to criticize players, but they're being coached to do it, so they're just following instructions. But it's slow and turgid.
Yeah, us, like, in terms of the whole, oh, no European football, the team should be fresh. We didn't see much of that. And we played on Monday night versus other teams playing on the weekend. Lack of intensity, like, what do you put that down to?
Yeah, it just felt like I said, a post-international break blues, but there's no excuse for that. You should be really up for it. It was a huge opportunity. You'd seen results go
Gone
your way.
fourth.
Yeah, I think we'd have
Yeah.
to win by a number of goals and goal difference to go forth, but we'd at least be in the points situation. You're at home in front of your home crowd, lights on. Um, just very disappointing. I know like some of these players are a bit rusty because Mazraoui hasn't played a lot. Xerxes hasn't played a lot. So losing Cunha and Sesko is a blow. I would have, I expected more intensity. Again, I'll say it again. Ruben, please just play Ahmad at wing back and not Mazraoui at wing back. And then he brings Dallo on as the
Oh,
choice. It's just like,
seriously.
come on. There's got to be a better option. Looking at the bench options,
Is that his like secret love child or something?
yeah.
I think they're distant relatives, actually. It did actually come out genuinely about Ruben and Dallo.
That explains everything then, because
Yeah.
like I said, he's a soldier and all of that, but you're chasing a game and he's the guy that's coming off the bench. Yeah,
Come on, Az. Like if
doesn't make any sense.
If Sean Dyche or David Moyes brought on Dallo to do in-swinging crossing to Xerxes, who's not exactly the best centre forward in the world, especially with heading and movement, like this, you obviously defended him a lot last season to be like, look, I'm going to give him a chance to see the more Sporting Lisbon football. It's snail's pace, right, in terms of being able to get there at the moment, even with the 5 undefeated.
Oh, for me, I've been saying it consistently. The attacking game's not good enough. I keep saying to you, and you disagree with me. I think we're more solid now. Like we're not like open like we're under Ten Hag, and therefore we're a bit more consistent. But I've consistently said the attacking game, that's my concern, is not good enough. I don't feel we score enough goals. I'll go back to it. Under Ollie, we score 3 or 4 some games. Obviously, it's still not the levels we wanted, but there was something to like hang your hat on. I feel the attacking game it's really needs work, and even in the games where we've done well, it's been more battling, physical, duels,
vibes.
I wouldn't call it vibes. I'd say it's
No, some of them have. Ahmad's goal against Forest.
Moments, right? Maguire at Anfield. But yeah, I think I made that point. Like when we hit the good run, our performances weren't that much better. You could argue even worse, but we got the results, and no one's going to
and this is the thing. I saw fight in the team. I said to you guys, as long as the dressing room is with the manager, you got to give him a bit more time to work on it. And the fight in the team showed me, okay, they're still playing for him.
That was the biggest thing. I made that point on the pod with Ash. Is the team spirit.
Yeah, the consistent thing that he has been doing in those games is going with Ahmad at the wing back. And he's gone back to last season again. And it's just too defensive. Yeah. And against Everton at home, come on, please,
3 centre-backs against Barry. And we're not even talking about Barry, like Evans from EastEnders. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Especially with 10 men. Like, because you keep saying that point about defensively we're better. Well, no shit, Sherlock. It's because we've got 3 centre-backs covering more area. You might argue that's better for like De Ligt and Maguire if they were just on their own. We're sacrificing control in the middle of the pitch, or even, being able to pass the ball forward. Like James Garner, former United boy, dictated the game. Like he bossed the game in midfield.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the 3 centre-backs thing, like Luke Shaw should be getting forward more from his position. I think Neville was mentioning that as well. Like you can adapt in the system, and again, like if Ahmad is a wing back, that changes he is a winger player. Therefore, and this is where I think Ruben got it wrong. Team selection was wrong initially. In-game management was wrong. Went back to last season for me. Yeah, so this was a negative for me. I'm not, I defend him when he deserves defending. I have nothing to defend in this performance. We need to go on to the next game, and we need to get 3 points. And he needs Cunha back in
Tough
the
3
team.
points.
He needs Ahmad.
Palace.
Yeah, Palace is going to be a tough game. Ahmad back in wing back role, but it also makes me very worried now with the AFCON, because if you think we're going to lose Mbeumo, who's the one shining light of the attack, and Ahmad, then it's going to be a really, really difficult Christmas period, I think.
When do we lose them from? Is it mid December?
Still being
Yeah,
negotiated.
there's a bit of discretion in that final week, so yeah, it could be.
They're supposed
be
to
second or third
officially
week.
2 weeks before the tournament, but they're trying to negotiate a.
Yeah.
So Jim's
later
probably
release date.
getting a EasyJet flight for the boys rather than private jet,
Well, if we get them for one more game and we save the private jet cost, then it's win-win, isn't it? But I think, Max, we're only going to have them for a couple of more games, right? Into December. So just want to pick up on the point about Gary Neville and Shaw, because he went quite hard on him. So, what did you make of that criticism of your mate Shaw?
Yeah, and Neville just seemed a bit frustrated, right? Because Neville's a fan as well, so he's commentating as a fan, and I think I felt as well that when you have to adapt to the situation, and yeah, you could. The system allows those wide centre backs to get forward, and if you're down to 10 men, you can take a bit more risk. So I do think Neville was a bit emotional, right, in the commentary, right? But fair enough. I think the team didn't take enough risk, didn't create enough chances, clear-cut opportunities. I don't know why he singles Shaw out in particular. Maybe because Neville's a fullback and he understands that position a bit more.
I think he just thought he could get forward, and he's the best attacking defender from them three.
I think it was the body language and the lack of intensity as well that it was getting to Neville. Like, Shaw's running style is quite, laid back, and if you're losing and you're like a character like Neville, you can see how that would piss you off.
Sexy.
Yeah, but for me, this comes back to my point about you've got just concentration and intensity that win you football games. And I've always doubted this team's ability to perform in that level, consistently. So for me, it's there is an element of just they took their foot off the gas as well. Maybe is it the winds get into their head a little bit? I do think there's an element of just taking the foot off the gas.
And that's where I think a Cunha on the pitch would have made a difference. That's why I was saying
it's going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to have inconsistency in performance because his team's not good. So this is the thing. One thing will keep saying to you guys is, okay, we've both said we need to come seventh. We haven't got different ideas of what, but that means you're going to have these bad days, right?
No, I said that on the last pod. You're going to have real highs like Maguire against Liverpool. You're going to have utter shit like Brentford or like yesterday. And the key is, where is the middle ground going to be? Is it more towards Brentford Everton, or are we going to get more of the Liverpool stuff? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll just have to see, because theoretically, these are our easiest set of games coming up, apparently, right? There is no easy game, but statistically, it's supposed to be. So we'll find out. I do also want to say, not just the fact that United fans need to just, be patient in that this inconsistency is going to happen throughout the season, but also just going to be blunt. Some of them players are just not good enough. Some need to be moved on, and it's too early for some of them. Patrick Dorgu could become the next Gareth Bale but he needs Premier League loan spells. He can't be doing his development and learning the game at Manchester United. He needs a loan to a mid-table club for next season. You'll see natural balance, but he's too young, man. He's 20 going on 21. How can you expect him to be the next Gareth Bale yet? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. We got to see a lot of development in some of these boys.
That's the thing, and this is why I agree with that point, and why I would have maybe more patience with Ruben, because I'm thinking, okay, the squad he inherited needed a lot of change. The squad now still needs a lot of change. I can imagine next summer another revamp. Casemiro, who's playing all the minutes, isn't going to be there, right?
Is he not? Because I've heard talk of they're trying to negotiate a new contract on lower
But
wages.
you wouldn't expect him to be the starting central midfielder, right? You'd expect us to try and recruit someone. We talked about Luke Shaw. Do you expect Luke Shaw to be the regular starter that he is this season? So there's more changes to come, and I agree with you, Ash, that there's certain players here who maybe aren't at the level. We signed 3.5 because the goalkeeper decent in the summer, but then you need to go again the next summer window. And this season is one where we both have an expectation of, okay, just get into Europe. You don't have to, yeah, we could have won and got in the top 4, but top 4 isn't realistically where we want to be. Now, let's can as you mentioned, I'm looking at those fixtures, and Palace away is hard, but then you've got West Ham at home, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, Villa away, Newcastle at home, and Wolves away. Sorry, Wolves at home. So you're kind of like, okay, these are the type of games where you need to bounce back. If it's like last season and we're losing these matches, that's not good enough. But the
bet might be back on, lads.
Yeah, but it is one game. We have, like I said, in the previous games, even though they've been draws, I felt that the team was fighting at least, even if, in my opinion, I watched the Spurs game. I didn't feel there was any quality in the game, but I felt that we put up a decent fight and did deserve the point. I felt we deserved the point. I didn't feel Spurs deserved to win that game. I didn't think they were good. I thought they were a pile of wank as well. So this is the thing. The Premier League is really tough and other teams are also struggling. So we need to get those points and pick up those points. If we can pick up those points, we can achieve the target still.
There's a great quote from a journalist. He was talking about United a few weeks ago, and it was, these players are good enough to get yourself out of a hole when you need it. And that's the problem. There's a pattern developing, like with Ollie, under Ten Hag, and now Ruben. Just when you think like the glass is going to break, they can get a result. And that is my feeling that is going to keep happening this season. Just when you think Ruben's on the brink or the media speculation's all on us, we'll pull out a result because the players are still good enough, and I say that loosely, to bail you out at Manchester United.
My problem is like I saw a quote from Ruben post game, and it's the team didn't know how to play against 10 men. So although I understand it, it's like, like if you're playing football or other teams where the opponent goes to 10 men, it's not like you necessarily had a plan, but you have like, as a team, an understanding of how to basically win that game. It's like these players are just like robots. And the other thing is, it's not enjoyable to watch, lads. It's been a year. The football is shit. The football is utter shit. And as United fans, we want entertaining football. And we can't kid ourselves. It is not entertaining. It's a fucking drag. Even the wins, like we said, they're moments. And again, going back to creativity, yes, we've all agreed on this podcast, especially over the last few weeks, the recruitment over the summer has been pretty solid. The keeper looks good overall. Cunha looks good. Mbuma looks good. Shesko's young, so we're not going to judge him too early. However, we've killed Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo was starting the Euro 2024 final for England 18 months ago, and we've killed him. Rashford, we let go. He's now the top goal and assist, achiever in La Liga. He's playing well. So yes, there's been some good incomings, but what have we lost? And the Kobbie thing, I'll keep banging on about it. It's a travesty what has happened to Kobbie Mainoo under Ruben. It's an absolute travesty. Like, I know he got on the pitch yesterday. He's getting, where did he even come on? I know, like, I couldn't even tell where he was playing. I was too busy watching Lenny Euro on the ball. Like, it's a mess.
But that's the issue. Like, because you insist on having 3 centre-backs and one of them has to, like, bring the ball out, right? This is Ruben's way of doing the back three, right? Because other managers play the back three different. So where Kobbie could do that role, as in like at least carry the ball, right? So I'm not saying he picks out like Michael Carrick and then turns on it, because he needs to develop that part. But certainly can Casemiro have the ball, give it to Kobe, and then he troubles with it? Yeah, that can be the case, but this is a problem. Like, you've only got 2 in midfield, and Bruno's doing that job, but then he's not a number 10.
It's square pegs in round holes, isn't it?
I agree. I totally agree.
And you can see that. And my concern with this as well is like, yes, you can say, we need to do more recruitment. We need to get players out, get players in. But are we recruiting for the right manager? That's the big question.
Same thing I've said many, many times before is that as long as you buy players, if you were to change manager, you still have good players. They're not system specific. So I think the players...
Yeah, but we let Rashford go there, and like 4-3-3 manager would love an informed Rashford as an example.
Still get him back.
Rashford's like I told you
it's just
guys.
one example though. Garnacho as well, Kobe Mainu. Mainu's going to leave in January at this rate. So these are players that would be good for another manager.
He might not be allowed to, even though everyone believes he will go on loan because of this AFCON. Yeah. He will probably have to stay.
Probably have to stay. We don't have the strength and depth in the squad. One injury, right? And then you'd assume that you'd hope that if Bruno or Casemiro went down, and they can't play every game, surely, these guys. So I think I don't disagree with you. Mainu's development is a concern. I still think that he has a future at the club. I don't know if I think the talk around us selling him is more to do with apparently his contract demands, right? That he wants 108 grand or something crazy. But yeah, it's a concern that he doesn't get more minutes. He came on yesterday, he didn't seem to particularly play that well, but he's rusty again because he hasn't had many minutes, right?
And he's just coming on to lost causes, right? Like, he only comes on when, like, there's not much going on. Like, it's very difficult.
Right?
And again, like, it's the same point with Dorgu. Kobe is still young, so he needs good players around him, or senior players to help him. So like, I totally agree, Steve. Like, with that comment about square pegs and round holes. Like, it just feels like I've obviously mentioned it a few times. Like, you get any half decent 4-3-3 manager. I'm not saying this team is going to become Champions League, but at least the football might be better. Like, you'll see passes through midfield and things like that.
One thing I'd say against that, and I'll say this: it wouldn't be better under your guy Marco Silva. He's a horrible manager in that respect. And a
lot of people will say Ruben's a horrible manager. So
no,
I don't
fine,
need to
but
go into Marco
better.
Silva.
It wouldn't be better under Silva. And the other name that has been talked about. United should have got Thomas Frank. Tottenham are playing utter shite. Like, even worse, it's even more boring. I mean, if you watch the Arsenal,
they've scored more goals and conceded less, so that that will be enough.
Yeah, but
some.
The football is terrible, right? I mean,
yeah, but think about the manager who's actually in charge. Let's not do hypotheticals. Like, put your name out there. Like, tell us about Ruben football. Like, it's shit, right, at the moment, or is it not?
No, we've already said that, but the point is, and I'll keep saying it, if you replace the manager, you have to bring someone in. And the alternatives aren't great.
Okay,
now,
but there are other choices.
Question for you, Steve, though. Who's the guy who put a lot of faith in Kobe Mainu and brought him into that England team in the Euros?
Gareth.
He's trying to grow his Instagram account. He's a knight with 1,500 followers.
There's a couple of points there. One is, I think I was kind of touched on it earlier. Maybe the league this year is a bit more direct and less entertaining, you could argue. And secondly, under Ten Hag, it probably was more entertaining because it was open, like, to a scary degree.
It was terrible. No, come on.
But I'm saying if you're saying you want entertainment as a United fan, you could argue that was entertaining, and that's not what I want. I want almost like somewhere in between where we are solid, entertaining going forward.
All I want is, and we've had it in a few of these games, is just, like I said, put a few more attacking players on. All you need to do is, for example, yesterday's game, play Ahmad at wing back, play Kobe Mainu in central midfield, and push Bruno up one. Done. It's not difficult, and I think you'd have.
Yeah, but he's defensive. Like, he's a conservative manager. Like, I tell you one thing I've kind of like worked out is that he's actually not that good at trying to score goals in the Premier League. I don't care about Sporting Lisbon, right? Because like it's the Portuguese league and it's in the past. And like Steve says, I want to know what he can do for United. He's not shown in the whole time he's been here the ability as a manager to coach a team that can score goals, like good goals. All of our best victories have been lumping the ball to Maguire and him getting his header on it.
Yeah, that's my problem as well. It's just like, yeah, even the goals, they don't. I think I said this during the run when we picked up a few wins. It doesn't feel very sustainable.
This podcast is sponsored by Go Play Sports, the brand new mobile app changing the game for grassroots. Whether it's Sunday League or five-a-side, Go Play Sports makes it easy to track attendance, manage teams and cut out the manual admin. No more endless group chats, no more chasing payments, just turn up and play. Go Play Sports. Download now from your app store.
So your man Ruben, I think he's, like I said a few weeks ago, I think he's safe now. I think he's saved himself for the season, unless things go really bad. So yeah, obviously he needs wins, but would you agree with that? You know, he's all right and he just needs to get more wins on the board.
It does feel like that because of the chaotic nature of the season, that there's less obvious focus. It felt like last season everyone was out for him. But if you look at it, I'm looking at the league table now. Everyone's been praising, and I don't know why, Thomas Frank at Tottenham. We've got 18 points. They've got 18 points. Liverpool, who are everyone's favourite for the league, are on 18 points as well. So we do need to, get more results. But a few good wins, and things could change really quickly. Wait a minute. Aston Villa are fourth.
I know, yeah. They've had a really good run.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
They've won like four out of the last five.
See, I was thinking Unai Emery was under pressure, and now I'm looking at this table now and thinking, well,
it's because you win 3 games in a row, you can rocket up the table.
And this is it. So,
That's
like, if we do get a few of these good results, I read out the fixtures earlier, and we're playing Wolves twice somehow. Already. Playing Wolves twice somehow in December. So, like,
So can he afford to like drop any points in those 2 games out of interest?
Again, because of the chaotic nature of the Premier League, it really depends on what's going on. You always got to look at the league table, and we currently haven't played well. New players settling in. Finally got a semi-decent goalkeeper. Yes, I think he could have done better, but he's been good, right? He's been better than Bayendir. We've hopefully got a proper number 9 in place, but he's got injured. But hopefully he'll come back. And Mbumo's been really good. So, like, once it settles,
we'll stay in the mix. I think that's
what I mean. We'd feel that things have improved enough that it's not like last season where you're just like, where's the next result coming from? And even though you're not running on consistency of good points levels, no one is. It's like it's a chaotic mix. So I think that'll keep him going for a while. But simply put, as I keep saying, the attacking football's got to improve. Got to score more goals, and that whole thing of having no European football's got to start counting. I've always said to you, it counts in March. That's when it's really going to count. Where you'd assume these other teams start in the grind and getting tired, and it becomes more difficult. And you should be fresh, right? All your boys should be fresh, but you just never know. You can't count on anything.
It should kick in December as well, though, right? I mean, you've got a bunch of teams in Europe, so. You got Chelsea, Newcastle and City playing tonight, Arsenal. So you got your opposition playing Europe Cup football. We've got 1 game a week. I mean, and this is the point. It's like, yeah, I'd love to see where we are in March, but also just imagine if Ruben was coaching and getting the team to perform well, we would be easily in the top 4. So as much as you can say, yeah, you got to benchmark us against everyone else being erratic, but like we don't have any real consistency either. Like it's so choppy.
We don't have consistency, but we also we all agree we don't have the squad yet for consistency. So just expect it, and all you ask of Ruben is hit that target of keep us in the mix, and then come the end of the season, you've got to hit that European qualification.
We agreed Europa League, right, is the minimum expectation.
Yeah, I think we said like top 7.
7.
Yeah, so top. Okay, so us.
It's not exactly a hard target.
Yeah, so if we finish 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever, let's say we finish 8th and miss out in Europa League. I know we still could get it depending on the cups, but let's say we finish 8th, miss out in Europa League. Does Ruben get sacked for you? As in, do you believe he should get sacked?
For me, I'm going to go back to that point. If I have a good alternative, we've got World Cup coming up, and we've had this discussion. I think there's a managerial turnaround around the World Cups, and therefore last summer I didn't like any of the options. New managers come in, give him a bit of time. I think he'll have had the time. Will have had time to implement his plan. You'd hope that in this, like I said, the new signings have settled in. That come the February, March, you're going to see a better version of what he has. And if it's still not good, then you got the summer and you're going to have big names available. I think realistically, if you haven't made that target, surely you've got to think there's better options. You're not talking Marco Silva anymore. You're talking the two.
You need to get over that. It's like
I can't get over Marco Silva.
One of many options that I gave. Like
but
you go over last year.
He was the man you said.
Hey.
Steve asked you, give me one name.
At the time, like you go over the last year, I've given many a names. So
Poch is available in the summer. Tuchel, Nagelsmann.
As will continue to bang on about Gareth Southgate, even though he'd rather just be a dinner man.
It's good to have in the mix, though, right? Like those
He's
names.
Not interested in managing anymore.
Maybe, but anyway, our mate as well. Carlo will be available.
Carlo as well.
All the and also you'll see other club managers, right?
Yeah, Slot.
On a Slot, you don't know what's going to happen with him, right? But you get a turnover around the World Cup, plus the thing where you would hope that significant names will be available. That if you haven't achieved your target, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough to come 10th.
He would have had almost 2 seasons in the job, right?
It would have been long enough that you can, and like I said,
but last season is not counted, Steve.
But still, then he's had a full season.
He's had a full season, and he's had those players. And this is the thing: if you're starting to see glimmers of quality football, and then you come close, and you let's say you finish 8th, but the football was really good, and you're unlucky, and the underlying data looks good, you can have an argument. At the moment, you're kind of like, well, the football is not that great. We're okay. And if we keep going like this and finish 8th, you're like, do I really want another 12 months of this when big name is available?
Yeah.
Charismatic guy.
I don't care if there's not even big names. I'd happily move on. I don't need to see more of this.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like,
if this is
Silva, I take managers who can win football matches. It's better than getting relegated.
This was why I, after the Europa League final, and the evidence is in the podcasts, right? Like, this was one of the reasons. Yeah, this is why I was actually willing to wait as well, because I think, like we said, we had this conversation in Bilbao about the names that would be available next summer. So. Yeah.
You're still banging on about managers who were good in 2019. Like, you need to come up with a better list.
No, Poch, the ship
What's he doing for America at the moment?
The ship has sailed on Poch. I don't think that's the right appointment. But one of the other names, like a Carlo, a Thomas Tuchel, after winning the World Cup with England, sign me up. So
Knighted German, eh?
So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. And yeah, the noise, I think, has obviously died down around Ruben, and again, unless we lose a few games in a row, I think he's all right. So we're just going to have to see how it goes over these next set of fixtures, which again on paper look decent, but Palace is going to be tough on Sunday. So
one last thing for the United fans: don't expect Ruben to change. So
what's funny? Raj called me at lunchtime today because he's after tickets to Villa away in December, but he goes, "When's he going to change?"
He's not. Just get over it. All United fans, get over it. He's not going to change. He's going to continue to play a back three. He's going to continue to play wing backs. So just get with the programme.
Yeah, and see if there's any progress in the performances and results. I think that's the only thing you can look out for. Don't expect him to change his philosophy. So let's talk about something more fun. Liverpool, another defeat. 3-0 at home to Nottingham Forest. Sean Dyche masterclass. Us, you must be loving life with Liverpool's downfall.
does make life a bit easier, doesn't it? If we're not playing well, if they're not playing well, I did say you weren't on that pod. I don't think what we did. It was myself, Ash, Cabs, and who else is on that pod? Ash,
I think it was Ron.
Ron as well. And we were all going through and I said, I was saying, even at that point, Liverpool had 100% record, and I said you haven't looked good. They haven't looked good. They look defensively vulnerable. They've been relying on those moments, and it's finally come to fruition that they're not those moments winning those important challenges. They're just too open. They're defensively just don't look good. I think that the new signings, right, haven't given the effect. Everyone looked at their summer and thought, "Oh wow, 400 million, they've gone crazy. Liverpool are going to run away with it." And it's like, it's not easy to bring in new players and it all fit together. Isak hasn't really done much. They haven't worked out what to do with Wirtz. I thought Ekitike started the season really well, but the moment you sign Isak, you can't. Where does Ekitike even play then? And they've got. That Cabs will say the greatest centre-back of all time in Virgil van Dijk, but one man on his island can't solve everything. So it's been fun.
That's one of the issues. Last season, because he was almost a one-man show at the back, he papered over cracks, and because his form's off this season, you're able to get in, and you're seeing the results of it as well.
Yeah, I wonder, does it get to a point this season where Slot becomes vulnerable, or does he's got enough credit from winning the league that he just lasts no matter what? Because the defeats now, is it 8? It's 8, I think, in 10 or something. That's a big number of defeats as champions.
Lost in the league? They've lost 6 in the league.
6 in the league.
That my impression of Liverpool and United are that generally speaking, the in-ground fan base, right, is a lot calmer than some other clubs. It's not Real Madrid, for example. That we back our managers generally, and Slot has got lots of credit in the bank. I don't see him really under any pressure, to be honest. That's my impression. And again, who are they going to bring in the middle of the season? It'd be just crazy, right? So surely
Jurgen Klopp.
And Klopp seems happy in his retirement. I don't think he'd want to come into this, right? He's done his time. I think Klopp's next. I think Klopp maybe German national team, right? That's kind of where I'd see him. So I think Slot,
he's splitting his time between Stephen Bartlett and that. Yeah,
I think Slot surely gets easily till the end of the season, and then you've got a team that. Isak didn't have his pre-season. It was a difficult, and he's a class player. So you'd think, maybe, they'll target more the Champions League, try and win that instead. Cups are another route, and the league is so chaotic that you still back Liverpool for the top 4, wouldn't you? Because you wouldn't go, okay, here are the other 4 teams that are going to finish above Liverpool. So why would you get rid of him?
Didn't they do this? The last season that they won the Premier League, the following season, was it when Van Dijk got injured and then they had a stinker, but they just made it into Champions League in the end, didn't they? But it went down to the wire.
Alisson scored a goal from a corner in the 92nd minute.
I think it was the year after the COVID season, right? Because they won the league, like you said. And then, was it something like 6 defeats at Anfield in a row they lost? And they just jammed it right at the end.
Don't they, for a team that's never defended the Premier League title, don't they give it the big one a bit too much, Ash? And he signed a Kabir as well.
Not heard from him. I'm worried. There's a few of them, to be fair, that have gone missing. So you could set up a Netflix documentary about it.
It is weird how the apparent greatest team of all time couldn't defend their league title. I mean, how can you call this the greatest team of all time?
Yep. But then they say we came up against Pep's Man City, but it's like we, United.
Yeah, and look at the points for the league. It's like more than Man United have ever done in the 13 they've won. So they must be better.
Yeah, and it's like us against Pep's Barcelona, right? We would have another 2 Champions Leagues if it wasn't for that team. So you can't really measure performance based on that. But yeah, it's a shocker after spending all that money as well. That is an absolute stinker.
I do have to say, like, the players that they bought in terms of the profile, they did seem like the right fits. But as is touched on, like, Slot changed after the PSG defeat. He wanted to play like a bit more attacking, a bit more kamikaze, like PSG were doing last season. And they haven't really kind of like strung it together in terms of like that philosophy with the new players. It's all a chaotic mess at the moment. So they can score goals, but yeah, they're just conceding a shitload. Obviously, midfield dynamic has changed as well. So yeah, I mean, he should get more time. I don't think we're at that point yet with Arne Slot. But long may it
I'm
continue.
not sure they were the right fits. That's the thing. I was more skeptical because
Which ones?
for me, I think Isak's brilliant. But once you've signed Ekitike and you've already got Salah, do you need Isak? So surely you should have got one or the other. And then, for me, Frimpong is not a right back. He's a wing back. And Kerkez is a wing back as well. You know, did they replace...
But that's what he wants to play. He wants to play with attacking fullbacks. He doesn't
But
want...
then you don't have a true DM because you've got Gravenberch. So it's like, for me, shouldn't you have signed a DM or an additional centre-back? Like, it always felt defensively that surely...
Well, they messed up the Gay deal, right?
Yeah, so it's like, surely this, you know, Frimpong isn't going to work out. Bradley's okay, but it's like, you know how you were saying Dorgu needs a loan? For me, Bradley's like that as well. He's all right, but he's still too young. And I really like Kerkez, but I see him like more a wing-back attacking. I thought, well, Kerkez would have been good for us as a wing-back, but playing that kind of third centre-backy kind of next to Van Dijk, that was a bit... So I just felt like... I wasn't sure 100%. Like
It was a bit scattergun. It was a bit scattergun, like there.
Yeah, like the players, but it was
like
I don't see. Can you play Salah, Ekitike, and Isak in the same team? I don't think so.
But obviously, yeah, the whole Ekitike Isak thing, right? There's a little bit of politics in that as well because they've obviously blocked off Newcastle from buying Ekitike. But yeah, they've caused the rod for their own back in terms of getting two. But maybe they had an eye on the fact that, look, Salah has clearly shown even this season, unfortunately, that, yeah, he might be coming towards the end now.
Fortunately for us.
Fortunately for us, but for him.
And I think Wirtz is a really good player, but kind of that solidity in midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai. Yes, Wirtz has more creativity and quality, but they were like, solid midfield. So how do you get Wirtz? I don't get how you get Wirtz, Ekitike, Isak and Salah in the same team without just being completely vulnerable. So it just...
Do they all need to start, though? No,
but then how do you fit this? The thing, how do you fit the pieces? It becomes a bit more of a difficult thing. So I felt like, they went a bit heavy attacking in there. And Frimpong as well. To me, Frimpong is too attacking to play right back.
Carragher made an interesting point about Salah in that, I think he said it a few weeks ago, that everyone should just accept now that Salah can start on the bench. Because I think you just touched on it, is that in a lot of people's heads, you still think like Mo Salah is an absolute given. But if you actually strip it back and look at his form, you can obviously make an argument the fact that Salah can be on the bench. And to what Steve's saying, yeah, then you can have a setup that you can have Ekitike and Isak playing, maybe as a two, and then Wirtz behind, as an example.
Yeah. And you've just put a scary thought in my head as about Champions League. Like if they target that, they've got the match winners to win those big ties, so that's a scary thought.
Yeah, I still think that they need to do something in January probably, and I think I assume they will do something in January. Sign a centre back. Maybe
there's no doubt they need a midfielder.
Yeah, maybe get.
Yeah, there's no doubt that they need some form of central midfielder. I think Az is right. Like Gravenberch was brilliant last season, but it was always going to be a short to medium term fix. They needed someone long term, and maybe where they got obsessed with cock blocking Newcastle, that's where the money could have gone, whether it's the Ekitike fee or the Isak fee. Like that money could have been on a central midfielder and probably get you Gay as well. So yeah, maybe they've dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, so if you hear from the police, Ash, and they track down Kabir, let's get him on the pod and do the full debrief. So it'd be good to hear what he thinks is going on from the inside. And we'll have to touch on Arsenal because they had a massive statement win against Tottenham in the North London derby. 4-1 they won, and I have to credit producer Kiz for this line. So Ash, Eze wicked?
Yeah, it's a shame he plays for him, eh? I'm not going to do the MC Neat part or DJ Piper part. Yeah, no, it's a shame. Eze plays for Arsenal. Love him as a footballer. Great footballer, like street footballer as well. Like he's got a bit of edge and flair and a bit of that like unpredictability. Arsenal needed that, and I think what was more worrying, and I hate to bring it back to managers and Ruben and Mikel Arteta, but Mikel Arteta started Marino as a false forward, and blimey, he looked decent. I mean, I dread to think if he was at United in our system, how shit he would be. And that's the credit I give Mikel Arteta, unfortunately, in that the way he got Marino to obviously drop back and almost like play, he's a false forward essentially, but then that gives Eze the room to get into those more advanced positions, and yeah, some phenomenal finishing, bit of FIFA style finishing, right?
Yeah, massive result. As I take it, you're impressed by them. I think they were your pick to win the league, so I guess you're feeling pretty confident on that pick.
And they were my pick to win the league because I think they're the best defence in the world. But Ash has made the point that one of these games where the attack seemed to, and I was worried that they've lost Havertz and Gyökeres. What's their solution to that? And it was really, you can see a team that knows what it's doing in that, yeah, he had Marino as this nominal striker, but when he dropped in, you saw like a Saka go and take that space, right? It was good rotations within that team. But Spurs were shite. This is the thing. How can you have a situation where he's not that good. He's all right. Physical player.
That's what I mean. And Mikel's made him look good.
No. But no. How can you have that much time outside your box to just sit there, look up, and play a clip ball for Trossard? What are Spurs doing? It's appalling.
Yeah, but why can't we ever beat this fucking Spurs team if they're so shit?
Because look, Arsenal are a level above us for sure, right? Eze, I've said this so many times.
Oh yeah.
So Eze and Saka, to me, are two of my favourite footballers. They're just ballers. They're just class, right? They're so good, and they took them apart. But Marino,
good kids as well.
Yeah, Marino isn't that good, and he had no pressure on that that chance. Spurs is so it's did they had one shot, or did they have any shots in the box? I don't think, or something crazy. It's like, I always thought, I like Thomas Frank. He's a good guy, and I hope you go to a bigger club and you open up the tap a bit. You try and be a bit more proactive. But that was a dour performance. They didn't really try, and the goal they got was basically, because David Raya's halfway down the pitch and Richarlison chips him, but they didn't actually create anything. Really disappointing. The amount of space that Eze had on the edge of the box and no one was around him. Yeah. It was poor, and yeah, I think Arsenal fully deserved to win that game.
I think also Arsenal fans will tell you this. Like, to be honest with you, especially at the Emirates, I think Spurs, from memory, might have won once or twice. That's it, tops. Like, Arsenal dominate this fixture. Why it's good for the neutral is that there's normally shitloads of goals, and yeah, we got more goals yesterday.
Yeah, I am impressed with Arsenal just generally. To be fair, this season they do look very, very good. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they've got the bottle to hold out the league and, see what they can do in the Champions League as well and the Cups. So, yeah, we've touched on the fixtures for United, so we've got a good run coming up. So, yeah, we'll have to see how we get on. There's going to be lots of podcasts coming up over the festive period. I think there's a period where there's like 3 games in 8 days, I think. So, get your FPL teams ready for those quick changes. And yeah, we'll just close off by recapping on the Ashes briefly. So, yeah, Ash, 2-day test match. What happened there?
Bazball, right? Yeah, no, I mean, I watched, I'd say the first part of both days, and as I was going to sleep on day 2, I didn't expect the result. I did see the collapse in the middle. But yeah, this is, like I said in the pod, it's a bit like United. You can expect these types of collapses, unfortunately. They obviously didn't learn their lesson in the first innings by just continue to waft outside with drives. And yeah, the ball was, more bouncy compared to like English wickets, and yeah, they didn't learn their lessons. And Australia, a bit like Everton, just played around it and then masterballed it.
Great knock by Travis Head, wasn't it, to win the Test match? He absolutely battered England.
That's what I mean. He Bazballed Bazball, right?
Yeah. So like us, you missed the Ashes special. So are you a fan of Bazball?
Generally speaking, yes. I did watch. Is it what's the equivalent of Gary Neville's podcast? Anyway, Rob Key was on
Cricket.
Stick to Cricket. I think Rob Key was on that, and he was saying, yeah, they do need to, refine it to not just be all out all the time and pick the moments. And that's the one thing that frustrates me is I generally like it because when it works, it's spectacular, and I enjoy positive cricket. And I think that I always look at the talent of the England squad and go, are they achieving what they need to with the talent? And they're kind of there or thereabouts. So I don't feel like a defensive form of cricket would get better results. These are players that are built to attack. But it frustrates you when they do what looks like dumb stuff. And at the key moment, they give the game away. Same happened against India. The game's in your hand. Now just do what's required. The funny thing was in this game, even though it was a bit nuts, Australia still needed to score the highest innings total, right, to win in the fourth innings. So they still had to score 200, and no one had scored 200 yet. So you got to just give
no
credit.
one had scored 200 at that ground, right?
No, just
the new ground.
Yeah, so it's like you've got to give Australia as well credit, Travis Head credit as well, right? Great innings.
They twisted the statistics around as well, right? If you win the toss and win, I think it's happened 5 times. But yeah, obviously they've reversed that now.
Yeah, I was listening to Stick to Cricket earlier as well, and I think we predicted this, Ash, on the preview pod where we said if England lose, the preparation will come into question, and that's what Michael Vaughan was talking about. So are you surprised by that? And like, I guess, do you agree with it? I can't remember what you said on the pod in terms of lack of prep, but do you think that's a factor in hindsight?
I think I said on the pod, because of the way this team is managed and obviously captained by Stokes, I don't actually think for this particular team, like, warm-up is such a big thing. And I even saw an interview with Aggers and Stokes, and it got a bit frosty because Aggers was basically telling Stokes, obviously, that should you have had more warm-up time. And interestingly, there is a pink ball game that England can play, or like, the first team batters can play in. It seems like they won't do. Well, according to Stokes, but Baz was saying that they'll have to think about it. But yeah, look, to be honest with you, I haven't seen that many Ashes victories down under. The only one that I have, they did play a lot of warm-up games. So the narrative of like having warm-up games and then losing is better than what we've just seen. So you probably would have had a few more warm-up games. But as I said on the last pod, it depends on your coach. Because if you're Duncan Fletcher and Andy Flower, they would have begged for warm-up games, right? Brendan McCullum coaches like he played. He's very aggressive, very attacking, doesn't actually need that much of a warm-up to get going. And I think that's emphasised here.
Do you still think England can win the series?
Can win it, but you always look, Australia is the hardest place for any cricket team to go. In the cricket world, going to Australia, they're probably at this point maybe not their strongest team of all time, let's say, right? Their batting lineup looks a bit dodge. They've had injuries in the bowling department as well. But it's always a challenge, the conditions, the pitch. People underestimate that because it's, surely it's the same. The level of bounce you get, it's very different. You go to New Zealand, it's a bit like English conditions, West Indies, India maybe, because it spins a bit, but that extra level of bounce for these, especially for the way our attacking batsmen are, it's something to adjust to. So I didn't listen to your pod, but I would, I wouldn't have. There seemed to be a narrative that this was England's series to lose, or this is the opportunity, because obviously Cummins is out, Hazelwood's out for a while as well, I think. But it's never easy playing in Australia in the Australian conditions. But can they win it? Yes. Pink ball match coming up next. I know that. Yeah, I think it's the 2-day game, right? Canberra. I don't think they needed that prep. So this talk of prep, it's better to bat in the nets probably in Brisbane than it is to go and play in Canberra in a 2-day random game, right? So I don't see any issue there.
What's your thoughts on the warm up before the series?
The interesting thing, I don't know how undercooked or overcooked they are, but cricketers these days play all the time. So you'd assume that, that historically there wasn't as much cricket played, right, over the course of a calendar year. So you'd need more warm up cricket. These guys do play a lot of cricket generally. So yeah, I personally think you always want to get used to those conditions. Like, they are unique conditions. So, but time will also tell, because it's a 5-match series. So if you warm up too much, you get tired by the end of it, right? It's a long old drag. So there's always a balance, and it's only going to be on the 5th match that you'll really know. So we'll see. I think England, if they can just not, like I said, in those key moments, not throw the game away, they're still dangerous. For me, this batting lineup, as crazy as it is, when it clicks, it takes the game away from the opposition. And they could have won this game. They were in positions where if they'd put the hammer down at the right moment, yeah, like that first innings especially, Brooke was going so well. Yeah, Brooke has the tendency as well to get out to something silly, but he also has a tendency to go and score a brilliant 100. I'm always someone to just back the players, play the game. I enjoy it. Hit the sixes, take them on, but just don't be silly. And let's be honest, Zach Crawley as well. He's a frustrating player, isn't he? You just know he's going to get nick off to one outside off stump. So, but at the same time, he'll probably go and bang 100 in the next game.
Yeah,
Steve, what was your thoughts first Test match?
I find it entertaining. As a more casual cricket fan, I enjoy it. And I was just about to say there, like, put it this way, I prefer baseball cricket over Ruben football at the moment. That's for sure. So it's entertainment at the end of the day. I'm sure Cricket Australia aren't happy with missing a few days' play in terms of ticket revenue, but that's not my problem. So I enjoy the entertainment, and it was a nip and tuck Test match. Like, there was moments in the Test match where you thought each team were going to go and win it. So I quite enjoy it. And yeah, I know us is a bit depressed from getting back from Bali, but Christmas is upon us. We've got the festive period. We've got lots of United games, even though we're not in Europe. We've got the Ashes. We've got the Formula One heating up. My boy Max is going to do the business, I think, there.
Get the bet on right now.
So your boy now. You're a Max fan.
I love Max. He's the Jose of
the Jose FF1. I love that.
And I love Jose, so yeah, I mean, could be worse. Get the big jacket out the cupboard, us, and cheer up. It could be worse, I guess. So we've got the sport.
Oh, and you got Christmas movies. How can you go wrong?
Exactly.
I can load them up on Amazon Prime. Yeah, the old Hallmark classics.
Exactly, Hallmark classics and Christmas.
That's it. So we've got good things to look forward to amongst Rachel Reeves's gloomy budget pending, but we'll focus on the sport because that's more exciting and more fun. So thanks for joining us on this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one.